I'm Dr. Scott Fuller. Coronavirus and car crashes is what we want to talk about here. Sounds like an interesting pair to discuss, but I think I'm going to hit on some things that might interest you in this show. First off, here are some recent car accident injury people that are coming in to see me in my office right now, and these are unfortunately typical things with this type of an injury. I have one woman that came in with neck pain, and she also had dizziness and vertigo as a result of a car accident. Luckily, in just a few visits, the dizziness and vertigo have improved. Her neck pain is also much less, and she probably will get to full resolution. Another young new patient, she had neck pain and a concussion a couple of weeks ago. The concussion resulted in ongoing narcolepsy. That was before she saw me. Unfortunately, she just got into another car accident, flaring up all of her spinal pains, and so we're just getting started with her. Another woman, neck and upper mid-back pain. She's had that for 2 years now. We have improved her condition in 90% improvement in 2 years, but she has some ongoing symptoms, and when she goes without care, the symptoms get worse. Had another case right now. A woman got into a whiplash accident about a year ago. She has ongoing neck pain and tinnitus, ringing in the ears. The ringing in the ears is the worst part of her symptoms. We have now figured out when I do neck work on her, the tinnitus gets better for a few days, and then it increases again as the neck pain increases. As if we work on her again, her neck pain decreases and the tinnitus decreases. So we're still working on that, and we're pretty hopeful we're going to make some permanent gains. Another new one just came into me today. Neck pain, middle back pain, lower back pain, tingling in the hands after a car wreck. And I have another man that's coming in right now. Neck pain, middle back pain, lower back pain, slowly getting better. He got in one car accident summer of last year. We worked on him. He was just about resolved, 80%, 90% better. Gets in a second car accident, which piled onto the first one. So now we're trying to peel that layer away. Let me talk about this interesting aspect of car accident fatalities, unfortunately, and coronavirus. Here's some headlines. So I put into Google car accident fatalities and coronavirus. So here's some headlines from NPR on May 20th of 2020 by Hannah Hageman. On nearly emptied roads, motor vehicle fatality rates spike by 14% in March of 2020. So what that's indicating is even though the volume of traffic on the roads is way down, the fatalities are actually going up. National Safety Council, May 20th of 2020, preliminary estimates and data show emptier but riskier roads during COVID-19. As Americans begin driving less and covering fewer miles, the emptier roads became more lethal. Basically, what the public safety people are saying is people are driving way too fast, not handling their vehicles, and crashing. The New Hampshire Union Leader newspaper, New Hampshire traffic deaths spike despite less traffic during coronavirus pandemic, by Paul Feely. This one is dated May 10th of 2020. Headline is Public Safety Officials are reporting a spike in traffic fatalities this year in New Hampshire. 34 traffic-related fatalities this year between January 1 and May 6th in New Hampshire, which is a 70% increase from a year ago when there were 19 deaths. So the same time span last year was safer than this year. NBC Los Angeles had this article May 14th of 2020. Here's the headline: Speeding though less traffic, safety group worries about spike in crash deaths. When motorists are driving at high speeds on less congested streets during the pandemic, there is a recent spike in traffic fatalities, despite a decrease in the overall number of traffic collisions. So fewer accidents, but more people dying because of high speeds and so forth. LA has seen a 38% decrease in traffic collisions during the pandemic. However, traffic fatalities have increased by 15% compared to the same time last year. And lastly, here in Massachusetts Department of Transportation shows spike in traffic fatalities during pandemic, despite major traffic dip. May 4th of 2020 was this article by Michael Bonner. With 50% less traffic, the rate of fatal crashes doubled. That's a problem, right? You would expect that everything would trend downward. 50% less traffic. I think it was even less than that for a good period of time. but the fatalities went up. And just with discussions with my patients and people that I know, people have just been saying people are driving so fast. I've noticed this even on secondary roads when the speed limit is 25 or 30 or 35 miles an hour. People are just flying recently. So, and then the highways is really where the problems are. So some statistics as we move along here. I've talked about this in prior shows just to get you back up to speed. Unfortunately, these are morbid discussions here. We're talking about deaths from car accidents. In 2017, just in the United States, 40,231 deaths on the roads. Those are just deaths. More on injuries in a moment. 2018, slightly down a little bit, 39,404. 2019 is 38,808. Again, a little bit less. That translates to about 106 people dying on our roads per day. And you can just go to the nationalsafetycouncil.org if you want some updated numbers. Now, in the world, there are 1.3 million deaths per year from motor vehicle accidents. Cars, motorcycles, pedestrians, and so forth. That's 3,200 people per day die every day in the world from motor vehicle accidents. Now let's compare that to coronavirus, which we are totally shutting down the world, making everybody stay indoors, cratering the economy, having who knows the effects on the development, psychology, emotions, physical bodies, mental bodies of our children who are not socially engaged, not going to classrooms, not getting outside as much, and so on and so forth. Worldwide corona deaths right now are 438,000, which some people believe that those numbers could be higher. When you look at automobile deaths, motor vehicle accident deaths at 1.3 million, you kind of never hear about that, right? So that's interesting. And when you look at the 106 people per day, just in the United States now, 106 people per day die. Could you imagine our media outlets every single day reporting this number and adding onto it and adding onto it and adding onto it? And then we're pulling into this. In the United States, there are 12,000 to 17,000 car accidents per day. Again, listen, 12,000 to 17,000 accidents per day, 6 million accidents plus per year. At least 3 million people are injured from those accidents, with 2 million of those injuries being permanent injuries. And I know that because they oftentimes end up in my office. And by the way, if you are injured in a car accident, chiropractic tends to be very, very good at helping you. So unfortunately, if you get into an accident and you're injured, you could try a chiropractor. But imagine if the media starting on January 1st said, okay, we had 12,000 accidents today, 106 deaths. Here's day 2, says the media, and every day would be these statistics. Every hour of every day, we now have 24,000 car accidents with thousands of injuries and 212 deaths. On January 3rd, 36,000 accidents, car accidents on the road with 318 deaths. Next day, January 4th of the year would be 48,000 car accidents, and we added another 106 deaths to that count, and on and on and on. Could you imagine that happening? I mean, really? So I just wonder, it seems like we have accepted as a society that we've accepted that car accident injuries and deaths are something we're going to allow. If you think about it, car accident injuries and deaths are completely 100% preventable. If no one drove a vehicle, all of those injuries and deaths go away. But we wouldn't do that. We wouldn't have a society. We wouldn't have a society like we have it now. So we have accepted we're going to have millions of cars on the road, millions of drivers, billions of miles, and we've accepted that we're going to have 106 deaths per day. And by the way, many of them affect our youngsters, right? This is it's swayed towards young people. We're going to have 12 to 17,000 accidents per day, many thousands injured per day, many millions injured permanently per year, and we're going to consider that acceptable. I don't know. And by the way, there was an uptick in the past several years. The past 3 years it dropped slightly, but comparing those 3 years to the past 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 years, accident and deaths and injuries went up. How come? Distracted driving. So the second thing I wanted to mention too here is prevention. Motor vehicle accidents are the leading cause of death in teenagers, so that's an issue, and many of you do know that. We talk about that. We should talk about it more. Remember, it's totally preventable if none of us drive. Another thing we could do, well, that's unacceptable. We could make all the speed limits 20 miles an hour. 20 miles an hour. And we have serious consequences if you get caught for speeding. You get caught speeding once, and your license gets taken away for a month or something like that. You know, we could do that, but we've decided as a society that that's not acceptable. So again, here we are. So then we think with coronavirus is unacceptable. So that's why we're driven by this fear, and we have the media pummeling us with the numbers every single day of numbers of infections, number of infections and illnesses. Okay, 99% of them are going to resolve. 99.9% of them are going to resolve. But we're hammered with these numbers, but we're not hit with these numbers that I'm giving you right now that happen every year. Interesting. The last thing I want to wrap up with is for kids as they're coming up and getting their learning permits and taking driving school and so on and so forth. I thought about advanced driving courses. Maybe some of you can comment, and maybe we can do an interview on people that do advanced driving courses. So I thought that would be a good idea to learn a little bit more tactics and techniques and skills. But as I was poking around today, there is some research out there that says when people take advanced driving courses, accidents actually go up. There's some research that says that. I didn't study it hard, but there are some indications there that accidents actually go up. Why? So the thought is, well, I have extra experience and extra skill. I can go out in bad weather. It's snowing and I can go out because I know how to handle a skid. I can not accept, my defenses won't be quite as strong and high. I might not avoid things as much because kind of in the back of my mind I have skill. One article that I was reading was, as time goes along, you forget the skills that you learned because you're not practicing them, but in the back of your mind, you still might think you have those skills to retrieve at any moment, but maybe not. So it's something to consider. But one thing I did read, and this might be something to look into, folks, for your teenagers, is driving simulators that focus on recognizing and avoiding critical situations in a car. So not when the slide happens, if you will, but avoiding critical situations before they occur. Again, if driving simulators do that, I didn't look into it, but that makes sense to me. That is how we can possibly reduce accidents, injuries, deaths, and particularly deaths in teenagers. I'm Dr. Scott Fuller.